Achievement unlocked. 2 players and a podcast now loading.
Welcome on back, everyone, from Dreamers to the Flam family. This is 2 Peas in a Podcast, Season 2, Episode 1, A New Hope. That's right. We used to have a series back in 2017. That was the Season 1. We'll refer to that as the Lost Years. But going forward here, I am General Andrews.
And I am FlibbityFlam.
And we are here to discuss a couple of topics today. Our 2 topics are going to be creating a brand
and stream commitment balance.
This is going to be a good conversation. So, okay, FlibbityFlam, how did you feel about creating a brand? I'm assuming Twitch was the first place you did it, even though I'd seen you on multiple platforms. But how easy was that for you?
For me, personally, just because of my experience with... Because my mother's run her own business for now 15, almost 20 years.
Okay, yeah.
So I've been introduced to the whole creating a brand thing quite early in life. So when I came to Twitch, it was a lot easier for me than some because I knew exactly how to at least go about it.
That makes sense. Now, was it because of her that you were excited to, want to create your own brand, or was it what really drove you to creating a brand on Twitch?
It was definitely a part of her.
Cool.
But it's also you see it and it's like, oh man, this is gonna be tough because it's not easy to create a brand, especially from zero.
That is true. I can definitely concur because I know for myself, I did not start in the content creation field in any way. As much as I wanted to be a broadcaster growing up, I wanted to be a sports broadcaster for the longest time. Once I realized becoming an actual athlete was outside my realm of commitment or capabilities. But yeah, so for me, I was behind the 8 ball in that regard, but I had already for a couple of years been working on trying to do my own business, and thus knowing the time commitment to create a brand. I in a way, that's one of my most exciting and fun things that I've been doing, especially when people ask me about business or they question, oh, so how did you do this? Or what about this? And my number one thing is always talking about, do you have a brand?
Yeah,
do you have that? Because a lot of people are like, why am I so stagnant?
It's a lot easier for everybody to get behind a brand too once they know what they're supporting, not necessarily just you, but they want something else behind the just you factor.
Correct. Now, excuse me. Of course, I'm falling apart. We were warming up for a while here, and now my body is just unbelievable. Thanks.
We're recording now? Sorry.
There we go. Falling off the wagon there. Bam! He's done. All right. Anyways, so where was I with that? Talking about creating the brand.
It was about how people came to you, specifically asking.
Just asking you, I'm sure you've had it now because you've been a partner on Twitch for quite a while. How do you get growth? How did you do this X, Y, and Z in regards to what you've done on Twitch as an example, let alone anything else? And my big thing was always talking about, do you have a brand, or what is your content consist of, right? What is your label, and some people don't like labels, but that's kind of how you package yourself to a consumer in some way, right? If you're really trying to create a business on something like Twitch, the consumer needs to kind of know, what are you?
Yeah. It's very, very true. It's like everybody always is like, oh, I want to be variety on stream. And I always just tell them, good luck.
Yeah. That's a hard path. Like, there's a lot of good things about going variety, but that's a very hard path. So if you're going to do variety, what about you though is going from game to game to game? If we're just talking about Twitch, let's keep it simple for the moment. What will make you stick? What's your thing? So I know for me, a lot of the times I definitely showcase, like with my icon over here, right? People ask a lot of times, is that really you? And it's like, all right, go check out the Instagram. Obviously, folks, Instagram.com/GeneralAndrews. Yeah, make sure to check that.
Yep,
And
plug it.
so, and I realized that a lot of people were always constantly putting both of those two things at the opposite spectrums, right? Well, if you're a gamer, you can't be into, fitness and sports and athletes and things like that, even though there's sports games, but whatever.
Yeah.
And if you're, vice versa, right? If you're an athlete, you're definitely not have time to play in games. You got to be, you got to be in the gym. You got to be, on the field. You got to be at the parties. You
Yeah,
got to be doing that life.
working out with the boys. Like, there's no
Right?
time for games.
No, that's ridiculous. Why would you do that? And so for me, I knew that was something I wanted to put out there as I started to kind of my path overall into variety gaming. Because when I first started on Twitch, I mean, I was a League of Legends.
Yeah, you did. A lot of people don't know you did League of Legends and you did chess,
and then retro. So that stayed.
Yeah.
That one stayed, but the other two have fallen off to the wayside. Quite a far away.
It's they've been drowned with cement.
Yes, I my assumption here is as long as nobody has the key to that chassis to the belt, it will stay locked for the rest of time. Now for you used to stream quite a few different games as well, but besides what you stream nowadays,
a lot of different. It's completely different content now than what I did when I first started.
Like, let me see if I can remember what I first started. Because obviously I didn't see you in the very beginning.
No, yeah,
but it was compared to then and now, like that was the beginning, right? Because it's been so many years. I remember Mario Maker. I remember Luigi's Mansion, which I do think that still shows up.
It shows up every now and then when the price is right.
There you go. Good. You value your brand. I appreciate that. And Halo. I feel
Halo too. Yeah,
I feel like those were the things I saw, most consistent in the very beginning. And yeah, so what do you feel about that? Are you going back to Halo? Are you going back to Mario Maker?
As much as I want to go back to those games, there was a big reason I made such a big transition into almost just speedrunning because it's what got me the most views.
Okay.
And I'm not going to be ignorant enough to be like, oh, well, this is working and these aren't. I'm going to push these other ones though. And I'm like, no, we're just going to go with this other thing here and ride the pony.
Do you feel like that created any less happiness for you by choosing speedrunning those games? Obviously, assuming you're choosing the speedrunning games that you want to utilize versus just what the community says. Hey, yeah, speedrun Dark Souls. You're like, ha.
Yeah, no.
I've seen that thrown out there at least 100 times by now.
At least.
And versus, sticking to all those other games as well, because you do obviously enjoy those games. That's why you played it to begin with. What do you feel? Like you said, you wanted, you liked the growth and the business aspect of what you accomplished by sticking to that niche of your content in speedrunning. But what's your feelings on that?
Well, it's especially now though, like I tell people, I do it for two reasons. One, it does very, very well on my channel, and I'm basically a speedrunning channel. And two, it's a big mental health aspect as well because it keeps me constantly learning, which is really nice.
That's a great point. See, a lot of people don't understand that there is, well, they do actually understand there's a lot of learning, but there's fun in learning the game.
There is, yeah. Like I
shouldn't be picking a
physical notes and
stuff like that. You shouldn't be picking a game that you don't like to learn. Like if you go and you're like, oh man, I gotta watch this, it's like,
uh-oh.
Like you probably don't want to do that.
Yeah,
like it's not gonna be fun. And you want to grind it and get world record on it for some reason? Oh no.
No, don't do that.
Honey, don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. You deserve better.
And I know. So what about for you in your content? Because you didn't do speedrunning when I first met you.
No, if it wasn't for you, who knows how long until I would have actually been speedrunning.
That's true.
If folks
I'm
don't
sure
know
you
that.
would have found it eventually.
I think so, just because of like how much obviously your suggestion turned into the majority of my content as well. You know, is that I do think I would have found it. I don't know how I would have applied myself necessarily. So it's an interesting thing to think about is what would have happened. Would I have been a lost puppy stuck in the world of MOBAs, always crying into my palm saying, why do I not have good teammates? Or, you know, like I was just like, okay, here we go. So 2016, when we met up at TwitchCon, able to conversate, hang out, watch Power Crunch fall apart, eat pizza from multiple people for free.
For free, yeah, that was. Here, you look hungry. I am, yeah. Thank you.
That's right. That's exactly right. And for me, it's always been about like I have fun in the application of myself into so many different avenues. Now, there's lots of things I don't like to do. For example, when I was being told when I was a business-to-business salesperson, going into like a Subway, and then even though they're working, go ahead and try to sell them, you know, discounted Pizza Hut coupons, and then also try to sell them on, you know, on a cruise ship line,
Yeah.
right? You gotta love those jobs.
Those are fantastic.
Don't worry, we've got a district manager position open for you soon.
Just keep going door to door. You'll
just
be
keep
fine.
Going. Once they say no, just keep moving. Law of averages. Law of average. You got this, boy. And I'm just like, what? Okay, all right. So obviously applying myself in a situation where I didn't care for it. Was I okay at it? That was it. I was about okay at it. But when applying myself in something I love, so like fitness, right? So quote unquote, selling the idea of paying someone to tell you how to work out and how to eat and how to do this and that. You have to be able to make a connection. So I've always enjoyed taking my content and trying to make a connection with myself. Hopefully that connection resonates with the viewer. But as we've known, as you've known, there's a lot that goes into streaming, and sometimes just being able to play a game is an escape in itself. So like speedrunning, what I enjoyed about adding that into the content mix from what was mostly variety before, because even my retro content, I'd play a game, we would try and beat it. If it was myself or myself and DOS Postman, but then it was on to the next game.
Yeah.
Maybe I was in the same stream, maybe it wasn't. And that was kind of how all that rolled. It was constantly, you know, variety content, because that was supposed to be, I'm a variety streamer, which is silly. It's almost like, it's like this weird like label you want to be able to have for yourself, right? Like, I'm really so good.
Yeah.
I'm a variety streamer. Look at this. I've got 10 million people watching no matter what I do. And so it's just one of those things you get to realize, I don't know if that's necessarily all that good for my mental health when doing this type of stuff. And the speed running, like, again, the learning, I learn way differently than FlibbityFlam learns, for those of you that didn't know. There's definitely not one way to learn a speed run.
No, there's so many different learning types, period.
I have fun with my method of application for learning. And so content to content, creating a brand through everything, it's what about myself, the brand, and the community would resonate no matter what we moved on to, because eventually you're going to hit a wall on a speedrunning project, right? I mean, I'm sure you know
all the time. Yeah.
So if you're hitting a wall in a speedrunning project, you got to realize again, okay, why are you doing this? Are you making a ton of money to where that to you feels like, okay, this is worth my time, feel like it's a little extra harder work and I have to like tough it out? Is that the case? Okay, no. Is it because you are stubborn and your ego says, I just got to keep doing this? Do you feel lost if you transition games? All different ways to consider thinking about these types of things, and it's just like, okay, let's simplify it all over again. Just like I try and do every time I speed run. I might not do the most advanced strats when I start, because I'm like, how can I be the most consistent over and over and over again? Let's simplify it. Let's go with let's go with some pretty easy to moderate strats, get those backups down. Oh, okay, that's really easy now. Next stage, right? What am I now going to add? Let's add one of those tougher ones in there. I've created so much consistency. To me, it doesn't feel that hard to add a new piece in there. But I know that's not how most people learn speedrunning.
Yeah, a lot of people like to go straight for the big stuff.
Yeah, I've heard that, like, even like I'll reference Junkyard Dave. He likes to go and learn the hardest stuff first, and sometimes that's like the last few levels of a speed run, and he'll learn those all those levels, and then it's like, oh, I never got around to speed running. It's like, what? I know the last three levels like the back of my hand. What? That's crazy.
But I know those three. Yeah, I was just like, but you didn't do the whole thing.
But all those types of thought processes where it's such an interesting thing. So like for you, when it comes to speedrunning, how do you feel that your brand is it synonymous as just speedrunning? Is it synonymous from the games that you choose to speedrun? What do you feel?
See, that's the tough one,
right?
Where it's like, I think I'm more synonymous with my brand now.
Okay.
Where it's just the family, right? Like, I like to treat everybody in my community as they were my family. So that's my whole shtick, and I feel like I've finally at a place where I've accomplished that a lot more so than I did when I was first beginning.
That's fair.
And while as like people will, like, if you ever go in and you ask like, what do you want me to play? And they're like, oh, just play whatever you want. And it's like, it doesn't really work that way.
If only, right?
Yeah, if only.
I go and put on Day of the Tentacle 2 or whatever, and everyone starts leaving. My God, this is so boring. You said whatever I wanted. This is fun right now.
This is a good game.
Like, I'm clicking on all the wrong stuff. Look at the funny sounds it makes. Haha.
Look at this dialogue.
It's so good. Look what he says. Oh.
But it's definitely more so around like the tougher speedruns now, like the banjos and the Ocarina of Times.
Yes, very lengthy commitments.
Long ones, yeah.
And just running the game from when you start to end it, not even the learning process, just running the game.
Just running the game, because like 2 to 3 hours is a long time to be on top of your game.
You would say, what, typically you're a 6 hour on average streamer?
6 hours on average, about. Right? Sometimes I'll push it to 8 if I'm feeling good.
But I mean, about 6, so that's about 2, maybe 3 runs from beginning to end, maybe, yeah. Right, so I mean, that's tough, because that's, for me, one thing I like is getting more and more runs in, because you're gonna mess up somewhere. You might read chat because you're like, oh, I can do it right here. Oops, no, I shouldn't have.
No, I couldn't have.
I wasn't the right spot. I thought I had the jump, and for some reason I whiffed. And so with those longer ones, is that because you wanted that challenge? What did you see in the longer runs versus some of the shorter ones that you have speedrun as well?
I like the longer ones. There's more to see.
Okay.
There's more to see. It's a bit more lenient in the mistakes that you can make.
That's a good way of looking at it.
Because if
less
optimized. Yeah, if I lose a minute early on in a 3-hour speedrun, that's not much.
Right.
If I lose a minute in a 30-minute speedrun, that's everything.
That's a great point. Very, very good. And it's funny you bring that up, because I do like that aspect as well, because from running Zelda Link's Awakening and Earthbound, which were my lengthier ones, the hour and a half ish speed runs, that I did like that aspect too, of those, because it'd be okay, that's okay, I can make up those 30 seconds I'm behind because of this. All right, cool, don't worry, who cares I lost 15 seconds there, because there's 25 seconds on this very next split waiting. Cool, let's go. But I know for myself, like, something also about like, okay, what else can I optimize? How can I break this game down better? And sometimes when I feel they're so big that there's so much more to consider, where I'm like, I feel almost overwhelmed in like finding something that I can get really good at consistently, because I'm always looking for consistency. That's almost
Yeah.
that's one of my things. I'm sure you know that by now.
Oh yeah.
Consistency, consistency, consistency.
That's all you're about, really.
You know,
Which is never a bad thing.
again, it's not everyone's cup of tea. It's not the perfect way to do things, but I've found success in it, and I don't mind that, you know, regimented way of it. So it works for me, thank goodness. However, let's talk about you know, regimentation or overall stream commitment and balance, and let's go ahead and transition into our other topic here, because
The
we could talk
second
about
one, yes.
we could talk about brands for another, you know, 3 years.
We
But let's
could,
go ahead
yeah,
and
and still not know enough.
no, I'll rant forever. But let's go
It's-
ahead. Let's transition on.
So yeah, that's why I envy you a little bit in how regimented you are, because it's something I've always I used to have back in way early, like probably my last year, my senior year in high school, onto, you know, when I was 24 in college. I was super regimented.
Okay,
Wake
yes,
up
yes.
at 3 o'clock in the morning, go to the gym, go to work, then go to class, go to sleep, wash, rinse, repeat. And I loved it.
Right,
Like,
right,
a lot
right.
of people would hate that. And it was like, I loved it because I felt great.
Well, and I'm going to bring this up. A point in time that I saw you at your highest regimentation, up until now, you know, as you're getting back into it and whatnot, was during the phase of when you were becoming closer and closer to those partner, you know,
Yeah.
goals, right? Those, you know, what do they call it? Mile markers that you
The
need to hit to,
milestones or whatever.
yeah, all those things where it's like, okay, you're now hitting this, and it has to be for X amount of time. Then after you've done that for X amount of time, now they're going to review you for X amount of time. And you were regimented, dude. You were on the ball over and over again, and you seemed very, you know, like you were
I felt
enjoying it.
great.
Like your energy was high.
Oh, it was super high.
So that was
I was
cool.
also like, the biggest thing that's missing from my routine now is exercise.
Okay.
And because
Okay.
back then I was exercising super consistently.
Oh, that makes sense then. All right.
So like,
Yeah.
even when you see those videos of me during my
Mhm.
partnership push or whatever, I'm about a good 50 pounds heavier in those.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Oh,
Because
interesting.
I lived in a state where I could, because I would walk constantly. I'd take my dog out for a walk, and then I'd go for like a 2 or 3 mile walk myself.
Oh, that's what we heard earlier. Make a quick appearance, right?
Yeah, that's my dog, Sophie.
Always vocal, which is a good thing.
Yes, she's very chatty.
Maybe a surprise guest the next time. You know,
Maybe
who
soon.
knows?
She's got some stuff to say, that's for sure.
I'll show you a brand. Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I'll show you a brand. You didn't make me your brand. We gotta talk.
That's right. We gotta talk. I'm taking the bed again.
Yeah, I'm taking the bed. You get the dog bed.
Dang it, Sophie. Work with me on this.
But that's the biggest thing missing from my routine now, is just a good regimented exercise schedule.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
really like walking, just because it's low impact. It's really good exercise just overall.
Honestly, cardiovascular health is so underappreciated for the cardiovascular aspect. Not losing weight necessarily,
No,
not,
yeah.
you know, looking sexy, not, you know, being the most powerful or the fastest, but like literally cardiovascular health matters so much, because that leads to the more positive health for your heart. Like your heart don't
Yeah.
work, you ain't gonna work.
No,
Just saying.
exactly. It just helps. It just keeps the blood moving, the legs
Yeah.
pumping, like all that good stuff.
Well, and for me, I stream inside a closet or whatever here, and so I don't have much room for my legs. So being active is very important for me. You're also a full-time streamer and content creator, so we have to be sitting and utilizing our computers. You don't have a stand-up desk though, right?
I
Like, that's
don't.
not one.
I
Okay.
wish I did,
Okay.
but it may be something for the future. But that's still only
Right.
like half the problem.
That Agreed. Yeah, no, it's just I always trying to think of different ways to try to avoid it, because obviously if you could just go out and walk, you'd be fine then. You would
Yeah.
offset your, lack of movement, or your stationary uh position that you have to be forced into, obviously, because you're in front of the camera. Hey,
Yeah.
what's going
And
on?
it's not like, because I know a lot of people that will do like a 5-6 hour stream and never get up from their chair. And I
Right.
just look at that, I'm like, no, don't do that. Like,
That's
you
just
got
your
to get up every 2 or 3 hours at least and just fucking just stretch those legs. Just
right. I mean, you use the restroom, like you went
yeah,
and moved. You know what I mean? Good, good, good. Like, you don't want stagnation in your blood. You don't want stagnation in fluids in your system. You want it to constantly, go through a cycle, right? Replenish, get rid of, replenish. You want that. That's normal.
yeah,
Once you're not
exactly.
doing that, eventually the body's going to try to adapt and come up with some different ways of dealing with it, but sometimes they're not good and healthy ways to deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. And just the biggest problem that I'm finding is the weather. It's
Ah,
lovely here. Like,
yes.
it's really really great, but it's over, like, the lowest temp we have this week is 103.
Wow.
It
Dude,
is
our, our high temp this last week, because we're not quite into summer, was 103.
yeah,
That was our high, though.
and like
That was your low.
that is my low. Yeah, correct.
Whew.
So it makes it really hard because, like, I don't like, at least in my area, walking at night is basically a no-no,
Okay.
just
Yeah, okay.
because it's rattlesnake territory. Like, I
Yeah.
could probably walk around my neighborhood and be fine, which I may start doing.
Okay. Okay.
But
Yeah, just at least do something.
something, yeah, maybe take the dog out for a walk then. But like when it's this hot, like I'm easily like 30-40 pounds lighter in the winter just because I can get out and walk a lot more consistently.
Right, which other people will be vice versa,
Yeah,
because they're going to be stuck indoors because it's too cold to go out because of the snow or whatever
exactly.
conditions.
And it's
Wow.
like the biggest problem for me is that I end stream around 11 noon, which is the hottest
Yeah.
part of the day, and that's
Woo.
when I like to take my walk.
Well, it's not going to cool down for you for another 9 hours before it's actually going to start to be like, oh, now the sun's down. Now it's going to actually
Exactly,
have an
yeah.
opportunity to cool off. It's
Like,
pretty hot out there.
I usually, like, I'll take a walk probably around 6-7 tonight, and even then it'll probably still be like 98, 99 out.
Right, right. You're like, okay, I don't want to wait much longer. I gotta
Yeah,
do that.
it's like that. And then I've got the bike. We've set up the bike in a different spot too, so I'll probably start getting on that as well.
See, that's it. See, what's cool here is you're utilizing backup strats, right? From a speedrunning element of things, right? You're using backup strats though, because some of these situations aren't ideal. You can't go for the advanced strats because it's pretty hard out there. It's pretty hot out
It's
there,
hot. Can't take my
So,
dog for a walk. Like,
oh
your poor little
no.
paws.
Good luck keeping that character alive.
Oh no, not even a little bit.
It's like Princess
Scratch it.
Zelda. It's
Reset,
like, no, Zelda, get back here, no,
please.
Marin, where are you?
And for me at least, and I know it's probably a lot of other people too, but that's where it all kind of stems from, is the consistency. Because then if I exercise right, like especially being ADD, manic
Mhm.
bipolar, things like
Okay.
that, it releases enough endorphins in my brain that I can handle a lot more.
Well, and I want to go on a little tangent here for a second. When the whole, stay in place order, the COVID stuff started going off, like my routine got like I had just dealt
Completely
with
thrown up. Yeah.
it was intense. I had gotten my routine on par. Then the time change happened. Then right after that, one other little thing. I'm trying to remember what it was. It's missing my brain here at the moment. But then the COVID thing happened, so everything just kept on getting flipped over and over and over and over in my head of what to do with my time, how to utilize it, and that stressed me out. I was bonkers for about a week and a half. Then it started to come back because I started to figure out some regimentation. And then 2 weeks after that, new application of a regimentation in my fitness routine to go along with, what to do with every day. whew, finally got back on track. But man, that was a helter skelter, though. Let me tell you, like how I felt. I was just like, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
I don't understand anymore. Like it was not cool. So when you say things like that, I'm like, I get it, man. Small scale, but I get it, man.
It's just it's tough, and streaming consistently is the biggest thing that you can probably do for building a brand, building your community, building.
Yeah, always. That's one thing I tell people is that even if you are someone who's going to have to mostly have a rotational schedule when you stream, try to pick one day of the week where that's going to be your for sure stream. Like you really would want to have for sure one day that people are like, you know what? He's always going to be on, or she's always going to be on, or they're going to always be on at, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Wednesday morning. I'm going to go watch that. And people will do that because that's what matters to them. They want to know that they can go somewhere and find consistency in something they want to consume.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's just like, it's just so funny when it's like, no, man, I can't do that to myself. It's like, you sure? Do you want to make this thing work or not? There's some really, really good content creators out there. How are you going to make your content catch the same amount of immediate attention when they're versus somebody else who has the established brand?
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what it's not that people's content isn't worthy of other people's content, and or consumption of that content, excuse me. But it's like this other person, again, not that followers count, but when someone's in the 200,000 followers, they've been streaming for an extra 2, 3, 4 years longer than you. You know what I mean? They are a part of all these other different brands or sponsored at different point in time, so their names have spread all these other places, and you both do the exact same thing. Let's say, well, what's the viewer to do? Are they going to go with the new flavor? Maybe,
yeah.
Or are they going to go with the chosen brand that's been around for a while? A lot of the times they're going to go with that chosen brand. I'm going to say it's at least closer to a 60-40 than it is even 50-50.
Definitely, yeah.
Or worst case, let's say for simplicity, let's just say 51-49. But what are you going to do to make up that 2%?
Yeah, that's...
Again, someone who's got 3-4 years on you, who's got 150 to 200,000 more followers than you do, and you've been doing good. You've been doing not you. I'm referencing whoever.
Yeah,
just making sure.
Thanks, General.
You got quiet on me. I was like, oh wait, hold on. Let's reel this back.
Yeah, please continue on. Tell me how good I am.
Please. I'm breaking right now, man. Talk nice.
I'm breaking. Help.
And so, where, how, what are you gonna do? And sometimes a lot of people get stuck. Right? It's like when we earlier were talking about the brand. Like, so what's your brand? And it's like, I don't.
What's your brand? What's your 5-minute elevator pitch?
Yeah, like give me something. I stream Tibia. I'm the number one streamer of Tibia.
I was wondering if that was gonna work as well. I want to be the number 2 to your number 1.
That's all I want, man. Are you okay with that? I'm okay with that. See, but not a lot of people are.
Yeah,
you gotta have a reason.
Yeah, there's
what you're doing.
Don't just stream to stream. Stream with a purpose.
And if you're streaming to stream, know that you're treating it as a hobby, which is fine. That's cool.
Perfectly fine.
There's nothing wrong with hobbies. I love anime. Do I make anime? No. It's a hobby of mine. I enjoy the consumption of it. I talk about it all the time, no matter how much people think it's awesome or think it's weird. But it's just like, what the heck, If you need to commit a lot to it when there's people who are committing everything to it.
Yeah. Exactly.
No matter how much you disagree with what they're doing to make their content, how they are going about their friendships, their business partnerships, they're spending more time than you. They're probably going to beat you out for the same sharehold of space.
Exactly.
And so I just always want people to they tell me you like it's so funny like and in the 8-bit dojo, right? That's our sponsorships, folks. Our sponsors
Yes,
are through the 8-bit dojo
and
and ESN, the
ESN.
Extraordinary Streamer Network. And with that is that we haven't introduced yourself because we've been in a lot of discords. I mean, shoot, I have more discords still than I can keep up with, and I trimmed a bunch down because I wasn't keeping up with them.
I trimmed a bunch down too, and I still feel like I have too many.
Yeah, I just can't like I feel like I can't do enough for each Discord to really make it like, yeah, that was awesome, I'm a part of your guys' community. Which is funny because if you're part of someone's Twitch community, it doesn't necessarily mean you're part of their Discord community either.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother level. We can talk about that another time.
Discord is a faster email for me.
Yeah, really. It's a faster email where maybe I'll get caught up in a conversation.
Yeah.
And where was I going with everything? Man, I love to just rant into a wall. So blah blah blah. Bam!
I had this great point I was going through, and then found this side wall here.
I think I did. I just keep on talking with my eyes closed. I keep walking, and eventually I walk into a wall, and I'm like, "Whoa, what was I talking about?
Where was
dude,
I?" And I'm over here like, "Yeah, that sounds great. I love this. Just keep going." And then you're like, "Hey, Flib, do you know where I was?" I'm like, "No, not at all,
dude. I was immersed, man.
I was there. I was with you."
Oh man, story of my life.
Introduction sections, 8-bit.
The introductions on 8-bit is that how just explain yourself. Like who are you?
Yeah.
Right. And then again, you have the choice of saying who you are. And so what are people going to choose to talk about? Well, a lot of people are like, I'm a streamer. You have been a streamer for the least amount of your life compared to everything else you've done in life at this point. Like, why are you no, you're not just a streamer. You know what I mean? Like, to be a streamer, you can't just turn on the stream and sit there. Someone's already done that.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You don't get to just do that.
They've locked down that market already.
Yeah, it's over. We've seen it. That's 9,000 freaking views. Just lay on the couch, half awake, half asleep. Like they won.
Locked
all right.
It.
There's not a bigger share of the market out there until the population goes back up.
Yeah.
So like when doing these types of things, why do you not know who you are? Okay, that gets very introspective. But if you know who you are, you can also understand your consumer habits better, and understanding your consumer habits hopefully gets you a better idea. Like, okay, can I play devil advocate of why I would do this? Why would I only play this game in this manner versus coming up with a way of playing this game that also involves the stream?
Yeah.
Also involves the community. Now that's creating content with your work. Now, some people do it through like voiceover stuff. Some people do it with like channel points and the what's I don't know the name of the effect right now, but the stuff that you have that goes on.
The Leorin board.
Yes, and so even though he's speedrunning, right, he still has these things that people can directly affect his stream while he's even speedrunning. That doesn't take away from the gaming content either for those that want to just watch the speedrunning content. And those types of things start to add up. And that's why it's like, who are you? If you can't tell us who you are, it's going to be hard to eventually tell us what your brand is.
Yeah.
And it's hard to stay committed to your content if you are imbalanced. So like if you're not staying, consistent with your sleep schedule. Okay, why is that? Okay, because you're not falling asleep at the same time. Okay, does fitness help lead to that? Oh, okay, for a lot of people it does.
Yeah,
I know for me.
I tired out my body, and now I am tired at an appropriate time.
And for me, I know a lot of times for stream balance, consistency, and all that kind of jazz is that like I'll do extra events here and there. And hot diggity dang, does that really throw me for a loop? It's like I'm trying to do it to go ahead and put the more content out there to do X, Y, and Z, and then overall, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm playing catch up because that did take up extra time or energy because it wasn't on my stream. So I'm really like, okay, make sure to be there on time.
That's what I was gonna say. That's where the double-edged sword comes into your regiment. Is if you throw something extra in there, or something that you're really not used to, then it takes a little bit more longer for you to recover.
Right. And so like I know like when doing those types of things that throws me off. And I've gotten better about it now where I will take a stream off. You know what I mean? Like, okay, this stream is my stream that's first off, it's the shortest stream of the week. So I'll take that one off, use those few extra hours, get back on track. And it does, man. It's so funny. It's like, oh no, I'm gonna lose everything I've ever worked for. I can't do it. No. Okay, yes. I can tough this out.
Tough this out. Just force
Dreamers, I'm here tonight. Why is your viewer count low tonight? Oh God, why'd you say anything? It's over. It's over. And so like then you really start beating yourself up more than you need to, which is, we all know this. It's one of those things that as children we couldn't understand. How does an actor or an actress, get into a situation where they're doing what seems so amazing, yet they are completely stressed out and mentally burnt out to the point of cracking? And it now makes so much more sense. There's just this extra level of like anxiousness. I don't want to say anxiety because obviously it is the word anxiety, but anxiety means lots of different things if we're talking about mental health.
Yeah.
But this level of like before you go live all the time.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what it is. Like it's all the time, and you've experienced it for years. And there's once in a while you'll be like, oh, I'm good. Let's go. Other times you're like, okay, I haven't been on in 3 days. I know that's my schedule, but it's been 3 days. I'm gonna hit start light. Oh my gosh, those are the right title. Oh, it's over.
No,
They're definitely not
I'm
coming.
on the wrong game.
Oh no.
Oh, somebody said something about it already.
No. Oh my gosh, they tweeted. No. The Discord's blowing up. They're making fun of me. It's over. Oh, it's over for me. And it happens all the time. And when we allow those inconsistencies to manifest themselves, we can really get ahead of ourselves. There's times you and I will talk, and as soon as the other person starts talking, we're like, dude, you're fine. And they're like, what? Oh, okay. I just need somebody else to say that, and like, that was it. And you're like, all right, I'm out of my own head. I'm done with that, nonsense to beat myself up and, blah, blah, blah. But like, we all go through it at some point in time. And it's just so helpful to find regimentation and to just really be real with yourself, to know what am I?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now when I take that to the next level, what is my brand? And then hopefully from there, you should have already established, if you haven't yet, then what is your level of consistency? What do you expect to be consistent about to feel good?
Exactly. Two topics that intertwine together much better than I thought they would.
Right? I thought that was a really, really cool spin there, that we're able to be involved with both those topics when originally they felt very separate when we first started talking about them.
When we first came up with it, it was like, oh, these are going to be a lot different. And then I'm like, no, they're actually very similar. So
that was good.
If you can't commit to the balance, it's like there's no way you're going to be able to build a brand.
Right? Man. See, this is why I like talking to this guy, folks. This is why I like talking to this guy. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed today. Again, this was episode 1 of season 2, A New Hope, of 2 players and a podcast, also known as 2 peas in a pod. Thank you, dreamers.
Thank you, family.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.